I've been working for 7 years on this Martin family mystery, and I actually found the car in November of this year, and I was ready to stop for the year, so it was really unexpected that I finally saw the tire of the car in digging. So I was digging deep in the river bottom, 50 feet under the surface in the old canal, the old navigation locks at Cascade Locks.
And in searching for 7 years, what compelled you to keep going, and what initially started the desire to look for the car?
Well, I mean, the fact that no one could solve this for 60 years, or 65 years at the time, or 60 years, and when someone says it can't be done, like some part of my personality says, like, I've got the skills to maybe do this, right? I really love the river, and I love understanding the dynamics of the river. And then I didn't use any new technology for this. Like, I used the same clues they had in 1959. I just took the clues, reordered them, and reworked them, and did some different scenarios. And one of the scenarios was an accident here at Cascade Locks, but they never could find a car in Cascade Locks. Then I thought, what is it about the locks that could hide a car? What complication exists that I can find that maybe proves this to actually be correct? Because that was why they abandoned this theory, is they never could find the car. And the bodies. There was two bodies floated out, and there was 3 people who were in seatbelts in the front seat, potentially.
Well, so what did you do to find the car? Because I know you had to do some manual labor underwater. Yeah,
well, at first I started at the Oregon Historical Society about how they built the canal. And they built this canal very differently. So because of that, because of the conditions here at Cascade Locks, they built a different kind of canal. And once I discovered this pit, this basically 20-foot deep pit right in the middle of the canal, I'm like, that's where the car is. And I knew it. And that was in February of 2023. And I'm sure the reference librarians remember the guy who yelled really loudly in the middle of the quiet afternoon, because I was like, I've solved it. But then I had to prove I solved it, and that took 2 more years.
And so finally making that discovery, what was going through your mind underwater when you were like, I see the tire?
Well, I wasn't convinced it was the car at first, because I had a different idea of what the tire should look like. So, and I saw the hubcap, and it seemed like a different car, because there's other cars down there. There's 2 other cars. So that night in the hot tub, when I'm trying to get my temperature back to reasonable after diving all day, I looked online and I saw a picture of a 54 Ford hubcap, and I'm like, that's what I saw today. So that night, I didn't sleep, and I dove the next morning, and I went back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the car. I'm touching the car. And honestly, that's when, I mean, up until this point, for 7 years, this has been about me and me solving something. And the moment I realized what I was looking at, that this was a tomb of these little girls and these parents, and it really shifted around in a big way with me. And like I really started feeling the weight of what this meant.
Well, and what exactly were you looking at? So we know you saw the tire.
Yeah, first I saw a tire, and usually if there's a junk tire, it lays flat on the ground, right? But this tire was sticking up, and then I thought, oh, maybe that's an upside down car. So I went and started digging around it, and I touched the wall, and it was white, right? It was a white wall from the 50s. So then I realized there was another tire. Then I realized this is the back wheels based on the springs, and I kept digging around the gas tank, the bumper, and then I realized there's a tailgate, and the tailgate is open. And this was a wagon. This is an early station wagon, and the color was correct. Everything was right.
And when you told police or the sheriff's office what you found, what was their reaction? Because you told them in a.
Do we want to stop for this, or for a second? Oh, good. Okay, good. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when I told the police, well, when I first got permissions to dig in the bottom of the river, I went to the sheriff's department first, and I was like, here's this pit. No one's ever known about this pit. It's been forgotten to history. I think the Martin family is in the pit. And so they were, Sheriff English of Hood River, he's awesome. He's curious, he's friendly, he's like, yes. You know, he gave me a couple of detectives as contacts, let us know how we can support you in this. So that was great, taking that letter to the Army Corps of Engineers, and then, so I went back to them, and I'm like, I got something big, and all the detectives were in the room, and we did it. I mean, we saw the proof.
Well, there's so many conspiracies about what happened to the Martin family, how they ended up there, why 2 girls floated out, and
right.
I know they found a gun. Now being at the center of someone who is starting to answer a lot of these questions,
yes.
How does that feel as honestly a milestone in your career? I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight either.
Yeah, it's huge. And I'm writing a book about this. I'm writing a book about it with a collaborator, and it's going to be like 350 pages, and it covers the 7 years. There's so much that's happened, and it's been so interesting. So that book should be available by probably November, we're hoping. So we're working on it now. There's a website, martinmystery.com, that should go live tonight. That's got some video of the car that I took when I was down there, my first seeing it. It's got all sorts of different resources. So martinmystery.com is a great way for people to then put their email address on, and I'll give them updates as things happen. But your question is, it's a big day. For 7 years, I've been so many times quitting. I've almost died several times doing this job. I mean, this is a very dangerous place to dive.
How have you almost died?
I got caught in a ghost net, a salmon net, and completely tangled up, and had to like fight my way out of it through careful work. And yeah, it's been tough. There's been lots of times when I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars. It's raining. I'm here. No one else is here. It's sideways rain. And I'm just spending all this time having an assistant, paying for all this stuff, and with this dream that I'm going to find it. I know they're in the pit. I just have to prove it, right? And that's a tough thing to do, to know you're right, but to never have anyone else know.
No, it like makes my eyes water because that's so inspiring.
Yeah.
Like so many people would have just given up. How long have you been diving in these waters? Like how many years?
In these right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, for 3 years. I think about 3.5 years ago I started diving here. And then really got serious about the actual pit, which is further down the canal. I got the bigger pump and I really started moving some material once I had permissions.
Because all the work didn't take place in this water. Like you said, it took place at the Historical Society, in the libraries.
In the hot tub.
In the hot tub. That's where all the good ideas come.
That is. And the bad ideas, but yes.
I love that. Well, and then my last question, for so many people who have looked at this case for years, wondering what happened to them, and now as someone who has seen the car with their own eyes, is there anything that you're like, I wish people knew this, or I wish people would understand this, the work that it took to get here?
Yeah, I think it's just it really illustrates how, I understand the river in a way that most people don't. And so I understand how it can be complicated. But most people automatically, when there's no facts, they go to the complications that they know. And the complications that they know are other people's bad motives and crime and murder and stuff like that. So I think that has really flourished in this case when there was nothing. And that, why couldn't the car be found was based on the complications of the river and the complications of history. And by having that as my playground and really looking at the case clues, again, I solved it with the same case clues they had in 1959. I didn't use any magical technology, no sonar. This was just detective work and persistence, really.
Amazing.
Yeah.